Do you want to know how to learn anything super fast? How to pick up any skill with amazing superhuman speed? You can do it. And it's something I call the 0% rule. A couple of years ago, I had to very quickly pass some exams because I needed some paperwork for my business. One of the exams, the one that I dreaded most, was in construction. All of a sudden, I needed to learn about buildings, how they're made, what materials there are. Like I was learning about the different types of tiles that go on a roof, or the amount of force that a floor needs to be able to hold, all of that stuff. This was not my specialty. This was not my passion. I didn't like it either. I never cared for it. But to get the paperwork, I needed to get it done. And even worse, like this was a 2-year study, usually, and I had to condense it into approximately 2 weeks. You'll be happy to know that I passed the exam at the first try, and I did it by focusing on 2 key factors: immersion, obsession. Those are the 2 words that I want you to focus on. Immersion is the act of deep mental involvement in something. And usually it also means that you cut out everything else. You are totally immersed in something, as if you were put in a liquid. An obsession is an idea that constantly, continuously occupies your mind. It's never ending. It's constantly rolling around in your head. There's nothing else in there. It's just complete obsession. If you combine those 2, anything is possible. You can learn anything. You can reach incredible skill levels at anything in an extremely brief amount of time. Now, that brings me to a very important point. A whole lot of people hit me up every day, and they hit me up in something that I've coined as orangutan language. It's the weird thing where people constantly abbreviate words. Like you, Y-O-U, is abbreviated into U, the letter U. You know what I mean is Y-K-W-I-M. It's all these weird abbreviations. And plenty of people that hit me up either are learning how to be a writer, or they want some of my advice, or they're seeking to make an impression. And the reason why I bring it up is because anyone that is actually obsessed and immersed in the act of making forward progress in life would never, ever, under any circumstances, conduct himself in that manner. That would be unacceptable. Let's say you were John Wick, movie character. If you were at the shooting range, do you think you would just, mess around? You think you would miss? John Wick doesn't miss. You think, let's say you were James Bond and you go to the supermarket. Do you think for 1 second the guy loses situational awareness? The guy doesn't know who's close to him. He just lets his spy skills just go, just in the moment, doesn't care? No, because he's James Bond. You think if you're Batman or Bruce Wayne, make your choice. You think if you were out in public, you would just start acting low IQ? No. Because that's not who you are. You're a professional. You are that person. And if someone hits me up in text speech, if someone asks me a question about whatever subject, and you use that kind of talk, I know you're not obsessed with forward progress. I know you're not immersed in the process of actually becoming world class at something. If you're trying to skip steps, if you're trying to save some time by abbreviating words, because apparently your time is so valuable you can't even write out the words, well, that sort of tells me all I need to know, right? Why would I take the time out of my day to reply to you if you don't even take the time to actually write out what you want to say? It's kind of embarrassing. Using the orangutan language is one of the quickest ways to show that you're an amateur, that you're not serious. And people always come back with, yeah, well, but when we're talking in text or when we're talking like on an app or sending a text, it's different, man. If I needed to be professional, I'd be professional. And that's absolute horseshit. I gave the examples previously. Like any real professional doesn't use all of that low IQ language. That's just not a thing. When people text me or when I email with people, they know that it's me because I take the time to formulate my sentences and my paragraphs. I use line breaks. I write out the words. My grammar is solid. I'm careful with the kind of words that I'm using and my sentence structure because I want to make sure that whatever I'm saying comes across in the right way. And I also want to make sure that whoever is receiving my messages knows that I'm being serious about what I'm sending out. I put care into whatever I'm putting out into the world. And if you're a serious guy, if you want to make it into whatever profession you're trying to get into, if you want to make it into whatever specialism, if you want to reach a higher level than where you are now, I would strongly encourage you to take on this behavior. Immerse yourself and get obsessed with whatever it is that you're trying to pick up, whatever you're trying to get good at, and make sure that whenever you communicate with whoever it is, you come across as someone that's actually serious about their craft. Jim Rohn would say a serious student. That's a very good positioning to start from. And people will take you much more seriously if you take the time to actually write out your words instead of abbreviating them like an orangutan.